Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's another Friday and another Browns pregame show as we try to analyze and predict what's going to happen over the course of this Sunday at 1 o'clock. Your guess is good as mine. But I do have some comments that might vary from the shit you're reading on Twitter. At least I hope it does, because, I'm having a great time living here in Northeast Ohio, and I'm meeting so many nice people that these assholes who are posting on Twitter, it's really become a sickness in our society. And, you're looking for updates, and instead you get people who are just angry, depressed, or just trying to start a whole hullabaloo about nothing on the internet. It is really a depressing thing. Uh, I don't know if anybody even knows this program's on, to be very honest with you. I pimped it a little bit online, but I'm sure people will find it after the show's over and it is in archive. To start out the program today, we always start out with the latest and maybe not so greatest news, and that always has something to do with injuries, right? Well, Greg Newsome is not going to be playing against the Titans, and this doesn't help us one iota. And meanwhile, James Hudson, the tackle, is also listed as questionable. The Newsome thing is an extended elbow, and he is day to day to day to day. And he is a slot defender, and that is an important position when you're playing against Ryan Tannehill, who's not the world's greatest deep thrower in the world, but will use the middle of the field quite a bit. As for Hudson, the scary part about that is we see him in the games all the time, and he's not very good. But if he doesn't play, we have to be bringing up people from our practice squad. And that is scary. And that means either Ty Nsekhe or Alex Leatherwood. It's like, nah. Hey, Mussolini. Joe Shipley makes his return. Oh, Joe, you're one of my favorite people, honest to God. We're going to be talking about the Ravens in just a short period of time in weeks. So I'm glad that you've been lurking. That's nice. And I haven't even talked much about the Ravens. I will today a little bit because they're in the news, but not really doing anything specific about the Ravens. We got enough problems here in Cleveland, I think, is the way it works out. And Double P, you're always welcome. We're going to bring the other Mussolini in, and that's Bronk from merry old England. Hi, Bronk. How are you?
You don't want to know how I am.
You jet lagged?
No, not at all. I mean, I was in the same time zone, so no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. I
Did
actually
you?
saw some American football in the Spanish hotel room. I was watching an Austrian broadcast of the Lions versus the Seahawks.
Well, that's interesting.
No, it wasn't really, but
Muy bueno.
that was actually a good game. But they had the American coverage dubbed in Austrian or German or however you want to say it. So you had to have the sound turned down. But yeah, it was messed up.
Here's something, and again, we always kind of is a little bit scattershot in the beginning of the program. I'm telling you the most recent stuff that I'm seeing
What are you seeing?
online.
Tell me what are you seeing?
Well, what I
What are
saw
you
is that
seeing?
Greg Newsome's not playing on Sunday, so
Okay.
our slot defender is not going to be out there, and we're going to have to rely on Mike Ford, a backup. That's what we know at this point. Miles Garrett has defended Minkah Fitzpatrick, and this is something that I
Oh,
want
okay.
to talk about just a brief bit, because I can't put myself in the mind of a player, and it is a split second game.
Yeah.
It's just that every time we play Pittsburgh, one of our guys gets badly injured, and I think
Killed.
that uh, it gets sickening to me. And Mike Tomlin's reaction, he doesn't have to say badass things like, I'm not going to apologize for winning. And that just makes him look more guilty to me. But
Yeah.
be that as it may, Miles Garrett says that, hitting in the legs is a necessity when you're playing against players like Nick Chubb and against who we're playing, Derrick Henry this Sunday.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, Basically, Miles Garrett says he looks like me. He's 15 pounds lighter and only 1 inch shorter, so I'm going to have to do something to take him down because it ain't hitting him high. And that's what people say about Chubb as well.
Correct. Yeah.
So
Sure.
I'm not going to go backwards and say that Minkah Fitzpatrick did it on purpose. What I will say is it happens every time we play Pittsburgh, and it's the most important people that we need if we have an active passing game. They ding up our wide receivers with concussions, and we've seen that. If it's our quarterback who's really good, they ding him out of the game with late hits. And if it's our running back, they may have ended his career.
Oh
So,
God. Can I just tell you my experience of this Nick Chubb injury? Because I heard
sure.
about it. I heard about it on a shitty Wi-Fi connection on a ferry in the middle of the Bay of Biscay, and I was just reading about it. So, and then when I came home, this stupid DAZN broadcast of the games, they don't show the full 2 hour game anymore. You only get the 40-minute condensed game, which is just literally the plays, or the coaches film, which is the plays twice with no commentary.
Right.
But what they showed of Nick Chubb being tackled was virtually indecipherable. You couldn't look
Yeah,
at it.
because if you see
Couldn't
it from
look
the
at it.
one side, if you see it from the other side, it's pretty gory and you don't really
Oh,
want
well,
to.
yeah. So eventually, I go online, and obviously somebody's got it, and it turns out that it's the most far right wing sports media company in England that's called Talksport. It's owned part by Rupert Murdoch, and sure enough, they have the whole clip on their thing with a little board that says graphic content on the bottom. And when I opened it up and looked at it, it looked like Nick Chubb had his leg amputated. I had never seen anything. I mean, I'm surprised his leg wasn't literally in two pieces, flapping around on
Well,
the
it is
ground.
in essence. He has to have 2 surgeries. And this is almost a guarantee that you will, if you do see him next year, he ain't going to be the same. This
Fuck,
is
he'll be
a
lucky to
total
walk.
reconstruction, the second total reconstruction on that knee.
Oh
It's
man.
yeah, it's an unfortunate thing. I don't think it had to happen, but again, I don't play the game. I can't speak for that. I can only say that I believe that the Pittsburgh coaching staff tells their players to go out
Sanctions
and
it. Yeah,
injure
that
people.
they absolutely sanctioned it. And
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say? We've seen it so many times.
Yeah, I don't want to dwell on that either. We're
Fair enough.
going through the latest stuff. Juan Thornhill is healed and ready to go post calf injury. That'll help us in the safety slot. Our corners will continue to be Emerson and Ward, but without Newsom, it's going to be Mike Ford as that third guy who's going to be the nickel guy.
Yeah.
And Thornhill will be back in his regular spot as a safety,
Yeah.
along
What
with
was wrong with him? Because I heard he got hurt, and then
his calf. He had a calf injury. It's just soft tissue stuff,
Oh,
but it's the
okay.
kind of stuff that if you don't rest it off, it's going to come back on you, and that's what That's what Joe Burrow is
No.
finding out right now. And I'll tell you right now that Joe Burrow is way too
Brittle.
brittle. That's right.
Brittle. Yeah.
For the long haul,
He,
if you were hoping that he was going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, you can guess again. Uh,
wow.
so and there, oh, you can still get on the air, Chandra Snow. Give me a reading. Oh, wait. In honor of Jim fucking Brown. Shit.
Shit.
Give me a fucking reading, bitch. Okay, that was my homage to
I
Jim
don't. I
Brown.
don't normally get fan messages in the chat. That must be desperate.
No,
So
she's doing good from what I understand. I haven't had a chance to talk with her, but Michelle is a forever member of Moohead Radio. Now, here is another thing that she's crying.
oh, she was there for the famous girl from Ipanema,
Oh, she was
Jim
absolutely.
Brown thing. She was giggling in the background, nearly like
Yeah. I
asphyxiating herself.
didn't know that you've been crying. Yeah, I didn't know that. I don't know what she's crying about. I hope it's
Everybody's dead.
yeah, everybody's dead, right?
Yeah.
But when we look in our division, it's
Sucks.
there are 7 Raven starters out versus the Colts. It's not going to matter.
Woo!
It's not going to matter.
Oh, the Colts are off.
They're playing at home, and the Colts rookie quarterback Richardson is out. So it's they'll still win. They're not going to have any trouble. But it's here are the 7 who are not going to play for the Ravens.
Okay.
Odell Beckham Jr. Oh, go figure. It's his ankle. Go figure.
Oh well, he apparently he's been dating Kim Kardashian. That's what I saw.
Well, her ass fell on his ankle.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know who's the bigger diva. I would say OBJ is the bigger diva by quite a long way in that relationship.
I'm going to go Austin Carr on your ass, CO Dead. Get that weak stuff out of here. You and your ilk have hatred for one man, and I am going to, by the end of this program, show you and explain to you simply why it's just not the case. But you'll have to wait for that, CO Dead, because everything in its due time. So you have Odell Beckham Jr., offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley is out with a knee. Center Tyler Linderbaum, an ankle. Running back Justice Hill, foot. Cornerback Marlon Humphrey, foot. Safety Marcus Williams, pectoral. An outside linebacker Owe, ankle. None practiced at all this week. Harbaugh said that he expected to get some of these guys back, but it ain't going to happen, but they're not worried about it. They're going to end up going 3-0 because, quite honestly, they're really playing a weak schedule right now. Yeah. The Houston Texans and then the Bengals, who are just somewhere up in the air right now, and now the Colts without a quarterback. So that's not going to be a problem, but 7 injuries is 7 injuries.
Well, Linderbaum's a decent player, and Humphrey's a decent player, but the rest of them, you can make do with guys off the second string and practice squad. Really, I mean, I don't know whether Joe Shipley will agree with that, but he probably wouldn't agree with anything I say.
Now, what's next is the start of something that I want to point out. And this has everything to do with all this whining about Deshaun Watson. Look at the big picture instead of the small picture, which I know is hard to do for people who are bigoted. But let's start this way. What's the difference? I'm going to ask this, and people can write their description. What is the difference between the Browns' defense this year and last year? And everybody who's in the chat room, and there are a bunch of people who are watching along the line, get into the chat room and write something and let your voice be heard. What is the difference between the Browns' defense this year and their defense last year? And, Joe is saying the pass rush, and that's not the right answer. A matter of fact, there are a lot of people complaining on Twitter about the length of their penis. That, and also they're complaining about, there isn't as much of a pass rush there. But I tried to analyze this before the season began, that the defensive statistics that Jim Schwartz puts together is not predicated on sacks. It is the containment of running games, and it is a good pass defense. So, could it be the new defensive coordinator? Yeah, Bronk. Coaching and defensive line, the defensive coordinator, and there you go. There you go, Mark Ross. And this is the right answer. And of course, it's Schwartz who's doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Attitude. There is energy on that side of the ball now.
Yes.
And that has been something that is been missing. That defensive unit was so forlorn over the course of the last couple of years that you could just see they were sleepwalking.
You know how forlorn they look? They look like they were Snoopy after he'd been shot down by the Red Baron. That's how forlorn they looked.
Yeah, their ears were hanging down.
Their ears were hanging down, and it wasn't pretty.
No. And now they're animated, they're into it.
Dancing, they're Snoopy dancing.
And they're moving faster. They're faster to the ball. They're tackling better. They're making far fewer mistakes. We're not seeing goofy offsides penalties. We're not seeing all the things that indicate that the players are not into the game. Now, I don't know what you're focusing on. That's where Topaz the Wolf sleeps.
That's the dog cage.
I can't fit in that.
That's like the dog pound.
But I will tell everybody.
If you tried, you'd probably get stuck halfway through.
I will tell everybody this, that in the last 2.5 months, I'm down 20 pounds, and I'm going to lose more weight in the weeks and months to come. So I've gotten a really good start on weight loss here, and that's an important thing to me.
So no more marbled cow then, huh? It's going to be all
I'm being very careful about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. I'm not getting younger, and I put some of this weight back on, and I can't afford that. I got to get it off. And I'm not diabetic, though. CO did. So there's no Ozempic involved. And I'm not in Hollywood, so I don't need to lose weight for that reason. And Joe is like, why are the Guardians suddenly playing good against the Orioles? It's because excuse me.
They're just doing it to spite Joe Shipley. It's obvious.
Yeah, it's they ain't the Ravens. Let's put it that way, buddy. But here's what I notice.
What did you notice? Tell me.
The look that we saw on the defense last year and the year before is all over the offense this year.
Oh, God, yeah.
When you hear Joe Bitonio saying to the press that after that first pick that we panicked a little, he used the P word.
Oh, no, that's the runaway train word.
That's right. We panicked a little.
Oh.
Well, let me say something.
That's the coach. It is the coach doing that.
Well, hold on a minute. The pick that he
Yes.
refers to, the first play of the game.
The one that bounced up in the air about 5 times and landed into a Steeler lap.
Yeah, but you see, the haters like CO Dead, the haters and the bigots who just want to blame a guy who's making $250 million, who's also an African American quarterback, and he's a Baker bro who wants, Baker Mayfield back, and because he's white, and it's okay for him to fool around with women when he's married in the parking lot of cheesecake factories. That's fine. But and look it up, go online and look it up. Don't take my word for it. The bottom line is that same look is all over the offense. And you were seeing how frustrated Deshaun Watson was. So much so, Troy Aikman took a cheap shot at him during the broadcast because he was with his performance coach. And he was meditating, in essence, and clearing his head and was trying to find calmness and a sea that was lacking tranquility.
Wow.
And, and Aikman laughed and said, well, if he thinks that's going to help him,
Aikman's
it's like,
a cunt, though. Sorry.
So,
but yeah.
Here's the bottom line. The team is walking around like they're in a dream. Offensively, people aren't coming back to the huddle when we're in a quick lineup and they're not lining up fast enough. I'm seeing Watson going like this, move, and the guys aren't moving. But I want to choose one player on the offensive side of the ball, and it's not going to be Deshaun Watson because he has accumulated more hatred in a short period of time than any athlete in the history of Cleveland, Ohio. I have never seen anything about it, anything like it, and I do understand what it is. It's because people online have to be angrier and meaner, and they have to show their right-wing tendencies louder. They've got to be pro-Trump louder, or they got to be pro-Biden louder, or they got to be pro-transgender louder. Everything has to become a cause. And your cause, you see, is to get Deshaun Watson out of Cleveland. And if you could do the same thing to other African Americans in Northeast Ohio, you would probably do that too. I am not going to pick on him, but there is one guy that I got a real big fucking question about. And it's going to blindside you.
Can I guess? Give me 2 chances.
Get two chances.
2 chances. Jedrick Wills.
Okay, that would be one if you wanted to, but that he's not the one.
Okay, Big Chief Njoku.
Okay. I would say that he's underachieving. All right.
Okay. That's all I'm going to guess. I'll let you get on.
Yeah. And as far as Jedrick Wills, I expect that because last year he showed that he takes plays off. But when a guy who's dedicated, when a guy who's shown all the right signs suddenly has gone brain dead and lackadaisical, then I know something is wrong. And I refer to Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
All right. Peoples-Jones caught 1 of 4 targets for 7 yards in the loss to the Steelers. He leads the Browns pass catchers in workload, playing 88.1% share of offensive snaps, but he ranks 4th in targets with 6, and none of them have come in the red zone. He has just 2 catches for the whole fucking season for 19 yards.
Wow.
Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson has thrown 17 times to Amari Cooper, 16 times to Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
I've been watching Donovan Peoples-Jones on the field, and he's not running out his patterns. He's not crisp coming out of his break. He's slow coming into the huddle, and I am going to make the ultimate argument that he lost the game for us. this past
Okay.
Monday. And
Okay.
I know that you're saying, my God, this has got to be crazier than anything that I'm reading on Facebook. And
Well,
this is
explain it to me because like I said, I saw a clipped down version, so I didn't really see the whole game or have a chance to reflect on it. So,
not only has he not been hustling on the field, not only that, but with 7 minutes plus change left in the game, the punter for the Pittsburgh Steelers punted the ball. He kicked
okay,
it, struck it from his own 20-yard line. Donovan Peoples-Jones, who is not a punt returner, he's a punt catcher because he doesn't try to return them 95% of the time, decided in this instance, standing on the 30-yard line, that he wasn't even going to go after it and try to catch it. Now,
wow,
if
okay,
somebody could explain this to me, and you could go out and go on the internet and look at the replay of what's Harvin? He is that his name, Harwin or Harvin? Yeah, Percy
no
Harvin. I
idea.
think he's the
Percy,
punter.
what the guy from Florida that was a gadget do-it-all guy?
No, he's the punter for
Oh, the
the
punter.
Pittsburgh
We're
Steelers,
two
number
different guys.
6. Yep,
Yeah, two different.
and
Yeah,
you look up his 7 punts against the Browns, and there's video. And you
wow,
look at the second to last one, and you watch him kick the ball, and Donovan Peoples-Jones literally run away from it, letting the
wow.
ball get downed on the 4-yard line. Yes, that
That's
was
grim.
and had he caught it where it dropped on the 20-yard line and gotten his typical 4 or 5 yards back, we would have been starting at the 25-yard line. Instead, we were starting at the 4-yard line. We managed to get the ball out by throwing a pass to Elijah Moore, and that one got us out to the 20-yard line. But nothing beats a bad play caller with a bad play designer being one and the same, calling a play where the lineup was so obvious what they were going to do that the Steelers read it. That is what ended up happening. Jedrick Wills did not make his block on Hightower, and Watson was stripped. Any quarterback would have been
Correct.
stripped on that play because
Oh
it
yeah,
was
they
a complete
got
blindside.
killed. Yeah.
But here's the deal. If he catches that ball on the 20-yard line and moves it forward to the 25, and we then have 16 or 20 yards gained in that drive before we have to punt it away, we're punting it away. Bohorquez is punting it away at his 45-yard line.
Yeah.
And we pin them deep. But because we're deep, because the asshole didn't try to catch the punt, we go conservative. And what do? We barely make a third down, and it was a short pass that Elijah Moore used his legs to get the first down, to get it out to the 20-yard line. But it's that goddamn multiple tight end thing, and and the boot right and Hightower running him down and stripping him, and the ball being scooped up, and they walk into the end zone. Ball game. We should never have been in that position. And Donovan Peoples-Jones has been a hard worker for this organization, but this is his last year in Cleveland, folks.
Yeah.
Look at his contract. He ain't coming back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So he was hoping that and his comment before the season began, I'm hoping for a fast start. Of course he was, because it's his contract year and he has to get more money.
Yeah.
And he's not only had a lousy start, not a fast start, it's been a lousy, slow start, but he's making mental errors and he's not doing what needs to be done.
Well, he wants to get paid because he's like a 6th-round pick. He must be getting fuck all money at the moment.
Understand that.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm going to say, as far as the Browns offense, because I'm going to take it one thing at a time.
Okay.
The first thing is, what do you do to make the passing game better? Get Donovan Peoples-Jones off the field. There's no chemistry between he and Deshaun Watson. He's not playing hard. Let's give Cedric Tillman an opportunity to see the field. That doesn't mean I'm taking Peoples-Jones off the field all the time. He's playing 88% of the goddamn snaps. Give the young guy who you drafted third round, who people were suggesting maybe the best potential wide receiver on the Cleveland Browns roster, an opportunity. He's got length. He's got good hands. He'll go up after the ball, and he's hungry.
For now.
Well,
yeah.
All we got is now. That's all we got is now.
now.
There ain't no past to me. There ain't no future. There's only now. So
wow.
I want to see an opportunity for Cedric Tillman because he could be an important weapon to help get open. If Elijah Moore can get open, and if Amari Cooper with a bad calf can get 90 yards receiving, a hardworking rookie who's fresh-legged, I'd like to see that. And this is what we've heard, the fact that he's not a separation guy, he's a contested catch guy. What we hear about Cedric Tillman is that he ran a slow 40 in the combine, but that his feet are good. He gets a good amount of separation, and he's got really good hands, and he can also contest. So he is the logical succession to, successor,
Landry.
to Donovan Peoples-Jones, because he's not going to be here next year. He's going to be playing somewhere else.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do was to give play calling to AVP and take it away once and for all from Kevin Stefanski.
Well, I mean, I'm sick of Stefanski, but we don't need to go into that. So.
Well, but you're not going to get rid of Stefanski because you don't want Jim Schwartz to be your head coach. And
no, I would actually do something even crazier, like make Bubba Ventrone interim head coach, let Schwartz run the defense, and then bring in somebody fucking who knows offense into the organization.
Well, and there's no better time than look at and we're going to see the guy who was Deshaun Watson's offensive coordinator on Sunday. So we're going to see what he's doing with Ryan Tannehill, who's a notorious non-downfield thrower, and how he's opening up that offense.
Yeah, let's talk about this game. So, that's coming up.
But I'm still not done with what I'm going to do. I'm going to give the play calling responsibilities to AVP, and with the understanding that at this point, Stefanski has to be told one way or another that his neck is on the line, because you can't put this much money into this many players and end up with an offense that looks like this. It's not acceptable. Another thing is Jedrick Wills. If he's not ready to play and wake up on the field, we have to find somebody who is, and a harder worker, because it's just not good enough. And there is too much pass pressure on Deshaun Watson. And it isn't that Deshaun Watson wants to be running around in circles as idiots on this is what the press people in Cleveland are saying, that he's running around in circles back there. And there's a reason for that. And that reason is 38% of the time he's in a shotgun formation, and 62% of the time he's under center, and he's not a quarterback that is under center. 82% of his snaps were taken from the shotgun when he was in Houston. You want to wonder why he's not playing like he did in Houston, is because they're forcing him into different footwork, and they've gotten into his head and fucked him up. And that's what Jimmy Haslam is really good at, which is snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. You pay $250 million for a guy who's a Pro Bowl quarterback, and you change everything on him. I mean, that is just stupid.
I got another stupid analogy for you. It's like buying a sports car, and then putting diesel in it instead of regular gasoline. That's what the Browns do to these players. So,
And
you know,
the answer of why I don't want Schwartz as a head coach, he's a defensive coordinator.
he is a defensive coordinator.
And
I
his
get that.
defensive players and offensive players are two different breeds of cat.
Yeah,
And
we've had those guys here too, and they're not head coaches.
the crazy positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement that defensive players will accept because they're grunts.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about it. Guys who are on the line, it's like play harder, play harder, play harder, and you whip them. But you're not going to whip guys who are in skilled positions offensively, who are making gazillion
Yeah, because
dollars.
they're divas. They're your lead singers.
I mean, I don't think that Myles Garrett gets ripped too much, but I do think that a lot of these other guys are really getting pushed hard by Jim Schwartz.
Well, obviously Delpit, because he's gotten a whole new level out of him. So,
And yeah, exactly. You can see that guys who look like they were absent. Matter of fact, that it's just like the offense. They look like they're absent. They need a spark. They need somebody to come in to give them the same type of boost that Schwartz has given the defense. And you know something that according to Collinsworth, it's Kevin Stefanski, and according to me, it's Zach Taylor. So fuck Chris Collinsworth, okay?
oh God, yeah,
There's no doubt that Cincinnati's problems all emanate from Zach Taylor. He's a lousy head coach. I've said it.
He is bad.
I've said it many times, and I've been taking shit for it on Twitter from Bengals fans. But now all of a sudden, there's this roar developing about we got to get rid of Zach Taylor, and you'll know that Mike Brown loves to fuck up as much as as Jimmy has.
Yeah, he's no better than Aslam as far as owners go.
So
anyway,
you got to get the attitude back. You get the positive, want to go out and play hard attitude, and these guys are hangdog on the field, and it's going to continue to be a problem, and that's not good. Deshaun Watson, when in front of the press explaining what's wrong with the Browns offense, he's telling the truth, and nobody wants to hear the truth. And
very rarely.
Yeah, what he's basically saying is it's a combination of things, himself included.
Yeah.
But they're not on the same page.
Correct.
And Batonio is talking about panic, and I'm talking about people not lining up fast enough when we're in the hurry up. They're just not together mentally. They're not with it. And a 3 tight end offense cannot work in the NFL. Get rid of it. And if there's plays scattered throughout, you don't start a fucking game, like you had on the road with a goddamn screen pass to Harrison Bryant. You just don't do it. Why is he on the field? The man is third on the depth chart.
I don't know.
He's behind Akins and the depth chart. That's another one of those 3 tight end alignments. And there's Kevin Stefanski starting out the game with that nonsense. And what I didn't get out of my mouth, and I want to, that pick was not on Deshaun Watson.
Oh, totally not. I agree.
And it wasn't on Harrison Bryant completely either. Yeah. If you look at the film, and most of the fans don't have either the resources, the will, the desire, the intelligence to look at the film after the game. There are 2 Browns blocking one guy. They're standing on the ground, basically with their hands to their sides, because it is a fast developing play. It was supposed to be a safe play by the head coach in which the quarterback goes back, throws the ball to Harrison Bryant. However, the Pittsburgh Steeler, who's lined up on that side, jumps up in the air.
He
And
knew it was coming.
not only did he know it was coming, he got his hand on the ball. And I am so sick and tired of people ignoring the truth so that they can tell lies. The trajectory of the ball was altered. Why do you think that Harrison Bryant was catching it lower, but the ball ended up more outside of him and high? Because it was tipped at the line of scrimmage. And if you freeze that footage, you'll see that after the ball goes by that guy's outstretched hand, it changes the slightly in direction. And that is why the pass was not directly on Harrison Bryant. It's a bad call, and it's like so many other things. You don't need 3 tight ends if you have a quarterback who throws for 5,000 yards in a season. You got to be throwing the ball down the field. And those tight ends, and that includes David Njoku, are not getting down the field. And whatever it is, you got to have somebody calling plays in there who are not calling stupid plays like this. It's just, you know.
Well, can I ask a question? Because obviously I didn't see it. And how long was the delay for Chubb being taken off the field, and did that cause an effect on the team or the offense in particular? I mean, because I have no way of knowing from what.
Well, I mean, obviously, it shook everybody up because he's the most important cog, because we don't have a passing game, because our head coach insists on bringing in 3 tight ends. So we rely very heavily on Nick Chubb, and sure, it would have been, it would be something that would bring everybody down. But the fact of the matter is, if that's all the stronger your will is when you see your best running back and your biggest offensive threat, if that's all your desire is, and that you lose your desire in your fight when you see that happen, then every team is going to take out your players because you're a bunch of fucking pussies. And that is what, weak sauce, soft, whatever you want to call it. And the Cleveland Browns, people say, well, we have problems with the Steelers. Yeah, but we don't have problem with the Bengals. Why is that? Because the Bengals are soft.
They are.
Like the Browns are soft. The Steelers or the Ravens are tough. So, of course, we have problems with tough, rough, rugged teams. And we're playing one this weekend, goddammit. The Tennessee Titans with Vrabel. It's another guy who is a head coach in defensive coordinator clothes. And his guys, his running defense, his front line over the last 17 games averages giving up 2.9 yards a carry. And we don't have Nick Chubb. So what do you think's going to happen to our running game in this contest? It's going to be shut down. And if he can shut down our running game and force 50 throws from Deshaun Watson, we're dead in the fucking water. They're going to push us around. And if that's what our attitude is to lose our fight when teams push us around, there ain't nothing to cheer for. You got to be in a position to assert yourself offensively. And if you're playing with the wrong attitude because the wrong person's running the show and because bad play calling and the players are really down, you're not going to win in the NFL. You just have to do something to change the attitude. And that means, and Deshaun Watson is alienated. You can't afford to have your franchise quarterback alienated. Something to give him the confidence that, yep, we're having somebody else call the plays because this guy is calling bad plays. He gets 2 fucking plays in his headset and he can audibilize from one to the other, and the choice is next to none. 2 shitty plays being put in, and he's got to choose one of them.
Wow.
and it's not fair. It's not fair to judge him, and and this is what everybody wants to say. Well, they were terrible in week 1. Well, they were better in week 2, and they're going to continue to get better offensively because the offensive coordinator is going to create more use of the middle of the field and a little bit further down the field than what they have done in the past. For the Browns, it's obvious you got to force Tannehill into throwing for the pocket because he's immobile. He was sacked 5 or 6 times, even in a victory, and last week. So it isn't like he's escapable. He's not going to hurt you with his legs. He's not a deep thrower, but Derrick Henry's already 29 years old, and he is playing fewer snaps this year than ever before. And they have a second line running back who's averaging 6.1 yards per carry. So if you're the Browns, you got to stop their running game. You got to stop Henry, and you got to stop his replacement, and you got to force Tannehill to beat you from the pocket, and you got to bring some pressure. You got to bring some blitz. You got to do whatever. And but believe me when I say that Vrabel has no problem with going to a dink and dunk offense and kick field goals and hold the Browns down in scores by stopping this running game that has now, 2 guys, one who's unproven in Jerome Ford, and the other one who is unproven because he hasn't stepped on a football field for a while. And I'm really tired. I'm really tired of this, but he's lost 10 pounds and he's ready to roll. Maybe he wasn't working out because this guy's all muscle,
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much from him at all.
I'm not expecting much either. And I don't think that you regain explosiveness. If you're slowed down by the time you're 29, I remember Jamal Lewis when he came to Cleveland.
He was awful.
When you lose your burst, you lose your burst. You can't hit that hole. And the only thing that he will be able to do, he'll look like Najee Harris, which is, he can bowl over people in short yardage situations. That's it. Yeah, I saw that too, David, and I thought that was a great quote. Make him go I-90 instead of I-71. There's you take away that north-south and make him go east-west. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we can do that, this is going to be a tight game. If not, you remember what the Titans did to us last year. So I don't have to remind you what happens when you lay down to a physical team, and we have a history of doing it. The whole thing as far as run blocking, this last game against Pittsburgh, Wyatt Teller had a 78.2 rating. Ethan Pocic had a 76.7. However, they were the only players to record above 70 overall grade.
Yeah.
The pass blocking grades were similar as Michael Dunn was the only lineman to grade above a 70 at a 72.7.
Wow.
But that's limited number of plays.
Can I make a comment about the run game?
Sure.
It seems to me that when Chubb gets his yards, he initially starts off in the direction of the play design, and then suddenly a cutback opens up that only he's able to see, and he gets it, plants his leg, and goes whoosh, and gets that 5-8 to 40 yards. There isn't another running back in the league who does that. I think a lot of Stefanski's running plays are shit, made good by the athleticism of Nick Chubb. Now, whether Jerome Ford has any sort of ability approaching that we're going to fucking find out, aren't we?
You know? And David, 2 years ago, it was the first game of the season 2 years ago.
Yeah, we got beat, like 3 turnovers.
But I mean, it wasn't close.
It's like
the stadium emptied out, and it happened on our turf.
Yeah, it's like
sorry about that. I'm getting year to year confused. But the fact is, that's the last time we played them, and it left a bad taste in my mouth, and they pushed us all over the field.
Game.
And we cowed down once again to a physical team. We can't afford to do that. A total of 17 quarterback pressures against the Browns on their Monday night game. DeJuan Jones and Jedrick Wills allowed 5 pressures each, having battled against TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith the whole game.
Yeah, well, that I mean, what can you do? I think every team's going to have that against them, but you know,
But there was much more pressure on the Browns quarterback than there was on Pickett.
yeah. One thing that I thought was shit was the fact that Watson gets called for the face mask, and we were getting face masked all game, and then our guy is the one who gets called. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
but
I thought was
again,
bad.
if
Again,
you're ma-
that's what happens, though, isn't it?
if you're making mistakes, and what we know from watching the NBA, it's the same thing.
Yeah, correct.
Physical
Yeah,
teams get the advantage in the playoffs
yeah,
because if they're physical teams, the referees let them get away with more. They have a reputation of being rugged. If a
yeah.
team is like the old Phoenix Suns, they can put up 130 on you, but they don't play a lick of defense.
They're
And
gonna
they
lose.
start going into tough defense mode. They're going to get 40 fouls called on them in a game. This is the
Correct.
way it works. And the Cleveland Browns are viewed as soft,
Yeah,
and that's got to stop.
yeah.
And on the offensive side of the ball, you're going to see people doing all kinds of things. They're going to be grabbing face masks against us. They're going to be,
Oh, Henry's notorious for doing that. I mean,
oh
Derrick
yeah,
Henry gets yards after face mask. He should have his own stat for that.
and they
Yeah.
will get away with it. And the Browns' offensive line is going to, they're saying that Watson has displayed a tendency for holding the ball too long. This is what I keep
Oh,
hearing.
what the fuck is he supposed to do?
Well,
What is he
first of all, you're
supposed to do?
starting him under center, and he's wasting
Yeah,
time dropping back into a deep drop when
yeah.
he's
So
in his
that's
whole
two
life
seconds
he's been in
gone.
a shotgun
Yeah,
formation. Let him scan the field while he's in the
yeah,
backfield, while he's in the backfield waiting for the snap, and so he can orient himself. The other way is just, but again, the offensive line has been put together as run blockers, not pass blockers, because we don't have a downfield passing game. We haven't since Kevin Stefanski took over. Everybody knows that. The field has shrunk down, and they can afford to bring more men at the quarterback. That's all this is. And if he's holding on to the ball longer, it's because people are running up on the receivers while they're in that line of scrimmage to 7-yard area, and that short pass isn't there. And by the time he looks to his second and third options, people are on top of him. It's not good enough. What we're
yeah.
doing
And
is not good enough.
even the defensive guys that don't break through, they're already jumping up with their hands, ready to block down anything that he throws. So yeah, it's a bad situation all around. So,
And then they're saying it's their defense against our offense. Whoever wins that battle, because they have given up an average of 286 yards passing per game. And for that reason, people, um,
well,
that was that. I don't really think that, and I'm seeing that Beast Grill's thing. That was the 2019 home opener. God,
yeah, it was a
it's
while
it's
ago.
a fresh wound in my mind
It was a
still.
while ago. Yeah.
It was
Yep.
terrible. That was like the most pathetic opening season loss that I can remember. At least that we didn't lay an egg at home the first time this year.
Yeah, that the expectation was wild that year because we had Odell for the first time, and was coming off his rookie year, and we were all going to go to the Super Bowl, and you were the only one who said we weren't, and and we fucked it up. We trusted them.
Yeah.
They had Browns were on. Oh, it was just terrible.
Since
But
2007, no defense in the NFL has been better against the run over a 17-game stretch than this Tennessee Titans team.
wow,
So if you think that Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt are going to be the twosome that is going to, and we're averaging 200 yards of rushing per game. We have over
yeah,
400 yards rushing this year.
correct.
That isn't going to happen on Sunday.
Yeah,
You can't count on that just because this team is built to do certain things. Yep. So there's that. It's really and I don't want to be negative about things. I'm going to sit back and say, here's who is picking what. Pete Briscoe is picking his nose and his ass, but he's also picking the Browns to win 24-23 on NFL.com. It's let me get this lined up. There are 5 people picking. 4 of the 5 pick Tennessee in
Wow.
our park, in our stadium with
Wow.
Ryan Tannehill. All right. This will tell you
Wow.
the media has already turned on the Browns. And
Wow.
and here's a Bleacher Report. And I've read these names off before. Davenport says the Titans. Gagnon says Titans. Hanford says Titans. Knox says Titans. Moton says Titans. O'Donnell says Titans. And our own guy, Sobleski, says Titans, saying they're going to win 23-20. And Sobleski went as far as saying that it's going to be a strip sack of Watson that's going to lead to the winning field goal.
Wow.
So, the poison is the poison, and it has been injected. Sporting news, the Titans at Browns. The Browns win 23-20, but everything is the same types of scores as the Pittsburgh game, and Cleveland can't win that way.
Yeah.
They will never be able to win that way if the offense hangs its head. The defense gives them opportunities and they just hang their heads and they let it go to waste. So 23-21, according to Sports Illustrated, Browns. It's like, and I want to go to this and see if this works, but this particular link is really goofy. On ESPN, picking the games. I'll see if I
pay
can
for it.
Yeah, let me. I have to scroll down on this because their little click on the link thing isn't working, and nobody's fixed it all day. And this is what I'm telling you, that the Moody's pick is 2017 Titans. Walder's pick is Browns 24-17. The overall FPI prediction of this is a 57% chance that Cleveland wins the game. That's predicated mainly on the fact they're playing at home. But something has to turn around quick. So we get to predict. And I invite everybody in the chat room to participate. Shipley says the Browns will win 29-13. Beast Grills is saying 27-10 Browns. And then once again, if one man shows up, it's going to make a fucking difference when the other 10 guys out there on the field with him are have their heads hanging because bad plays are being called and because there's no enthusiasm. I mean, you have Jim Schwartz, who's a fucking madman on the defensive side of the ball, getting his men all psyched up and ready to play. And you've got goddamn Kevin Stefanski. And he's I want everybody to go out there and do the best they can do. And, it's the best we can do. There's no enthusiasm. You've got to deliver enthusiasm in a game that cripples men's limbs, where one hit can end your career, where brain damage will end your life early. There's got to be a reason besides the money that these guys play the game, and it has to be that they're invested emotionally into what they're doing. And Stefanski just has no raw emotion.
Yeah, let me riff for a little bit here. Um, Having watched that Lions Seattle game, the biggest difference on those teams compared to the Browns is you got Dan Campbell and you got Pete Carroll. Now, whatever you think of these two coaches, at least they get their teams emotionally ready and they're into the game and they're game managing and they're trying to win and they're yelling and screaming and they're motivating their players. And Seattle got hosed on like three separate refereeing calls that were absolutely amazing, and they still managed to win in overtime. Stefanski cannot do that. He cannot game manage. He can't motivate, and he can't rile his players up to get that extra effort that they need to win games. And that's what's shit. Because I was watching that and I thought you put Carroll on the Browns or you put Dan Campbell, and they're better than Stefanski. They absolutely are. But as far as this game goes, I'm going to go back to what I said about the Bengals and say that we have more roster talent than the Titans, and we're going to win by 10 points. And I think we can probably, hold them under 20, and we might get to, up to 30. So I'm going to say we're going to win by 10, 30-20, only because we got more talent.
And here's what I'm going to say 24-17 Titans. And the reason I'm saying that is because the offense is out to lunch. We don't have an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I know.
We don't have one. AVP is in title only. He doesn't call plays. He didn't create the playbook. And if you don't think it makes a difference, even the guy who lived in the double wide, Kitchens, good old Freddie Kitchens,
our mate.
He was able to pick plays out of a playbook that wasn't even his and improve our offensive performance. Do you remember that?
Correct, yes.
And then the idiot owner makes him a head coach. The guy was functionally illiterate, for Christ's sake, and he had no business being a head coach. Now he's a tight ends coach for the Giants. So
look where they are.
But even he could call plays better.
You know who could call plays better? With a napkin and a pen? Our old friend Kevin McFan, wherever he is. God bless him.
Kevin McFan.
With this napkin, and he's going to ring up Berea and say, "I've got this play." He would be better calling plays.
And in no way, shape, or form are we prepared to play the Ravens. I'll tell you that right now.
No,
it's one week. It's this weekend only. You're playing a rugged, tough team. You got to prove to me that you can beat a rugged team because we lost to a talentless Steelers team.
Yeah, they're not good, the Steelers.
They're not good. And Kenny Pickett is not the quarterback of the future. He's not good.
He's like a younger Ryan Tannehill, and that's why I think Tennessee can't score enough points to beat us. I'll end up eating these words, but
but it doesn't take that many points to beat us. That's the point.
I know.
Our offense never makes a big play that breaks a game open. We never take the chance. The only time the ball was thrown long was out of frustration by Deshaun Watson, just hurling it up to the guy with the blood clots.
What about him? Why is he on the field?
To run a straight line pattern and half the time to stop running. I have no fucking idea.
I was watching the
none of it
film.
makes sense.
Yeah. I had no idea watching some of the coaches' film. I couldn't watch anymore because I was wondering what the fuck is he doing.
But in the end, the Ravens will find a way to win. Okay, the Steelers even found a way to win, and it's incredible. In the history of the Pittsburgh organization, never did they have a situation where the defense provided that many points
Yep.
and with so few first downs. If you look at it from a statistical perspective, there was a 6% chance they could win that game.
Correct.
And they did it. And you know why they did it?
Because we suck.
They're Pittsburgh. That's why they do what they have to do. And if they have a quarterback who can't put it in the end zone, well, then their goddamn defense will. And that is what the Browns have to prove, that they can't be a front runner. You got to find ways to win games. And these next two with the Titans and the Ravens are going to be hell.
We have to win at home. And all you have to do is win at home and win like maybe 2 games on the road, and you're in the fucking playoffs.
And you should beat the Titans based on the talent on the field.
Based on the roster, absolutely.
But I don't care about that, because if the attitude isn't there for the offense to get it done, it's not going to happen. We need to go 2-1 as a buffer, because it's likely we're going into Baltimore and losing, okay?
No,
because we don't handle rugged teams well. We gotta go into the break at 2-2 or 3-1, and we gotta have hailing distance from the Ravens, who are gonna go 3-0 because the Colts have no quarterback. Gardner Minshew is going to be the starting quarterback against the Ravens. And he's going to throw 3 picks. He's going to throw 3 picks. You know it with certainty.
Wow.
And that's right, David. The 49ers after the bye. If you don't get off to a start, it's an avalanche. You get buried before it even begins.
Well,
I want the Browns to win. I'm telling the Browns offense, I'm picking your team to lose because of you.
Yep.
Because your heads are up your ass. And if the organization refuses to replace the play caller and to institute a real honest-to-God offensive coordinator, look what happened when we have an honest-to-God defensive coordinator, and look at the difference. If we had a guy who was an honest-to-God offensive coordinator, wouldn't that be something?
The last one we had was like Kyle Shanahan, and even he got criticism. So, but I want to clarify something. All of our games are at home. We've got the Titans at home. We got the Ravens at home. Then we have the bye week at home. And then we have the 49ers. It's an entire month at home.
Yep.
So you can't blame traveling. You can't blame hostile crowds. Well, maybe you can blame hostile crowds. I don't know. But this is our time. We have to win all 3 of these games, and they're against progressively harder opponents, the Titans, the Ravens, and the 49ers.
Really,
and we have to win every game at home.
They're good football teams. They all do something well. And it's, and by the way, Joe, before you get too carried away, Lamar Jackson is overrated. He's an overrated quarterback. He can't throw deep accurately. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's not going to become a billionaire. Okay?
No.
And he will get hurt again this year. I guarantee you.
Absolutely.
As sure as I'm sitting here, he will get hurt again, because he's playing for a coach who he could never become a Hall of Fame quarterback playing with Harbaugh. So that's the moo you don't want to hear, because I haven't changed my mind one bit. I think right now they're in a position. Nobody knew that Cincinnati was going to be this bad, but I could have told you, and I told you already, that after the Browns game, that it wasn't just the rain. Burrow was hurt.
Yep.
And that's fucking Zach Jackson. He didn't have a plan moving forward, and to give him that extra week's rest, to rest that soft tissue injury. He was shot putting the ball, and he couldn't put his weight into the throw, and he looked just as bad in week 2. Now, they're not calling for him to leave Cincinnati, are they?
Oh, no.
They
love it.
But we're calling, for Deshaun Watson to get out of town. That will tell you everything you need to know about why the fans fans are losers in addition to the offense right now in Cleveland. Bunch of fucking losers. You know, all it takes is a direction. All it takes is leadership. And the players themselves, I'm going to be honest with you. If you choose something that you want to do for a living, something that's going to shorten your lifespan by 20 to 25 years, and you choose that, you're not the brightest person in the world. And it's not like you're going to walk away from the game and be a lawyer or a doctor. You're trying to make your money now. That means that that first 5-year window, you got to really show something. And if you're not brain damaged, leg injured, or torn asunder, after 5 years, you can make the real payday. But then by the time that happens and you play out the next 3 or 4 years, you've got brain damage started.
You're dead, yes. Yeah. You're absolutely dead.
You got to excite these people to play the game because it is a game to them still. It may be a means to riches. It may be a means to get hand jobs in hotel rooms, or to have women following them around, or to be, walk out on your tab and not have to pay for whatever. It may be any number of things. But come Sunday, you got to have a coaching staff who gets those guys ready to play, because they're out there for a reason. And if it's just the money, you'll see that they'll just go free agency away from Cleveland. They won't want to play there anymore. That's what happens. So, that's the deal. And
you've gone through virtually the whole program without really any voices other than an occasional, So we need Dick Goddard or something, or you could give me a Peter Alice moment from the season so far, since you probably haven't done one. I haven't seen all the shows.
Oh, Peter Alice. I could do the last story.
Okay.
Oh, the Panthers. Oh, Panther piss. Oh, Bryce Young is going to miss 1 to 2 weeks. And yes, Andy Dalton is starting. Oh,
Andy fucking Dalton.
Oh, how old is he? 97 years old, Andy Dalton. His red hair, ginger's turning gray. Oh, Bryce Young, before he had a chance. Oh, he's injured. Oh, wow. Yeah, sprained ankle. So already the soft tissue injuries, and we know what comes next. So, losers keep losing. And the Bengals, I'll say this. Zach Jackson will not. Zach Jackson. Listen to me. Zach Taylor will not last. Yeah, will not last the season.
Oh God, no.
He will be gone by the end of the season. What have they done? They've added Reed Sinnott to their practice squad as a third-string quarterback in the event that Joe Burrow is unable to play this weekend, and it's not a certainty that he will. And if he does, he'll just re-pull the goddamn thing. This coach is running them into a hole so deep they're never going to be able to climb out of it.
You know what it reminds me of? The Bengals this year reminds me of the Browns of 2008, after Derek Anderson had that decent 2007 season, and we just missed the playoffs because Corsi played instead of somebody else for the Colts, and we missed, and we absolutely tumbled to like 4-12 or whatever it was in 2000. I think the Bengals are going for 5-12 this year.
Yeah, and as far I don't talk about Baker Mayfield because 2 games don't mean shit to me.
He's going to get hurt. He's another one who's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to land on his shoulder by October, and he's going to be dead.
To be a good quarterback, you have to be a good quarterback for every game of the season. You can't just show up for a few games. You got to prove that you can do it week in and week out. I'm not saying that Baker can or can't do it, but show me. Show me what you can do. Show me what you're capable of, and then I'll believe that you're a week-to-week quarterback and that you're a solid guy. But this notion that DeAndre Black is saying here. They gave Baker all the time, but Watson 8 damn games. Well, they didn't give him 8 damn games. They gave him 2. By the time he came back, the book was written on the season.
Yeah.
And he was going into a system that wasn't even his system. The fact is, it was supposed to have been changed between seasons, and it wasn't.
And it
They
wasn't.
lied.
Yeah.
They lied to the fan
to
base.
us.
They lied to the media.
Yeah.
They lied to everybody. So, and it's
It's
never going to
same
work
shitty
with
plays that we had last year.
That's
It's the
right.
Same
And
shit.
it's not going to make Deshaun Watson look like anything. And of course, the ball's late getting there because he doesn't know what the fuck's in front of him because they're making him do things he's never done before. And it's really unfortunate. You know, and as far as yeah, Andy Dalton is 206. Thank you very much, Rick. But yeah, this is yeah, you keep oh, you see that now Joe Shipley's turning into Joe Shipley, the troll. He can't help himself. You see, you can't endear yourself to me enough to get me to believe anything about Lamar Jackson until he fucking proves it. He's done nothing in the postseason. And he gets hurt and he can't hit open receivers downfield. So what the hell? Yeah. But we have so many problems of our own, so many problems of our own. We got to run an offense that gives our guy a chance. Real quick, Mark Lewis, what do I think about Kareem Hunt being back in Cleveland? He's actually active to play, which tells us that we have
desperate.
That Pierre Strong, the guy they got from New England, is not in the plans of the team.
Yeah,
and basically, we don't know whether he can hit a hole or not. He's been out of the game for so long. The thing I don't understand is he's been out of the game so long. Watson was out of the game so long. You can't expect him to be game speed ready, and I just don't get what it's designed to fail. Fans are going to be disappointed because you can't just I don't think the fans have no understanding of how fine-tuned these athletes are. And when the NFL took away their preseason from them, they took away the starting up and getting the dust off. And now every team is going into the first game with dust.
Yeah, and with dead players, like so many practice squad players, like the Ravens got all these guys hurt, Bengals got guys hurt, we got guys hurt. It's shit.
Yep, and I think that Kareem Hunt is the backup running back, but that's only if Jerome Ford doesn't get hurt. And Ford, there's nothing wrong with Jerome Ford. He's unproven. And as far as Kareem Hunt, nobody was interested in him in the league. Everybody saw the footage of him playing for the Browns, and
he's old.
He lost a step. And I don't see how you get a step back, but am I unhappy he's in Cleveland? The fact is, they say, well, he knows the system. And I'm saying, what system?
What system?
What
system? Yeah.
Yeah. And
there is system.
And, so I want to say thank you for supporting the program as always. And there will be a halftime and post-game show. Everybody's invited, even you, Joe, and basically I have a suggestion for you, Joe. And when you're watching the Ravens play, and I know you will be watching the Ravens play, and you should because you're a fan. If I don't know if you're watching it at your house, but if you're watching it at your parents' house, go fuck your mother. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I love doing that to people. Just blindside them with something just so horrible. And believe me, it would be horrible fucking Joe's mother. Horrible.
Oh,
you
have
I
no
idea the sound. She's too fucking dry to take it. time.
Well, maybe with you, but with me, it's totally different, mate.
Joe knows I'm just trash talking him. I mean, I'm sure if Joe and I went out and had a burger and fries and a beer, we'd get along just swell. I have no
Yeah,
doubt about that. All right,
absolutely.
everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Let's hope the Browns do better than I think they're going to do.
Well,
This is a challenge, okay, that I'm putting out. Not that anybody on the team is going to hear me, but for God's sakes, I have belief that this team can do it. I just don't think they're being led by the right men on the offensive side of the ball. That's all.
yeah, I mean, the thing about Stefanski is we never win after Victory Monday. I mean, how many times have we not won 2, 3 games in a row when we should have done?
Tell you, we had every chance. We were ahead in that game, and Donovan Peoples-Jones just didn't even try to field a punt. And with
Yeah,
that lack of effort, you have to play every second of a game on the road like that, and you
yeah,
can't afford to just take your foot off the pedal. It's just like what Jedrick Wills did. You
yeah.
know, you can't afford to do that. All right, I got to get out of here. It's time for me to
Massive
run.
bonus Moohead today.
Yeah. This has been a long show. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I will see you on Sunday at the half and post game. Until then, hasta la vista, Pastor Heads. Good night.